Today I'm going to be making a zipper pouch that looks like this, 9.5 by 6.5. It's flat. I didn't put a gusset in the corner. If you wanted to, that's easy enough to do. These are number 5 zippers, and then it's lined, and I have a little tag in here too, which you can choose to do or not to do. And what I like about these is that if you look at the side profile, this is very tidy. There's nothing like getting sucked in here. It's nice and square, and there's still plenty of room to get into the pouch because that's a nice long zipper. What I'm starting with is 2 pieces of quilted fabric. Of course, I made it bigger than this, and then I cut it down to size. And the size of all 4 of these rectangles, the lining and the 2 outer pieces, is 7 inches by 10 inches. These are the zipper ends, and they are a little bit wider than the zipper itself and 2.5 inches long. Start with those. We're going to fold it in half, tuck the ends into the middle, and then fold it in half again. We have that, and then on the zipper itself, I like to use a lighter and just kind of seal that up. We put the zipper end on. Today I'm using a Brother PQ1500 SL, and it sews really fast, which makes quilting a little bit easier. Okay. I have a stitch length of 2, and I'm just going to attach the zipper end, or the tab, zipper tab, to the end of my zipper. Cut that off so it looks real nice. And now I want to make sure that my zipper itself is at least an inch shorter than the pouch is going to be. And since my pouch is 10 inches, I'm going to go ahead and cut my zipper down to about 9 inches. Is 9 inches long. So now I'm going to take that zipper, put it upside down on top of the right side of the main piece of fabric. We're going to leave a half an inch on either side and just stitch that down. I like to get pretty close to the zipper itself, and these little feet that they have on this machine makes that really easy to do. But if you don't have this kind of machine, you might end up wanting to switch to your zipper foot. And then we're going to take a piece of fabric for the liner. I'm putting the right side down on top of that, and I'm going to stitch that right on top of this. This time I'm going to use about a little bit more than 1/4 inch. It would be fine with almost any thread that you want to use. What I like about using cotton thread is that you can iron it without it melting. Okay, so now we have something that looks like this. It's lined. Keep the zipper on there. Now, what I want to do is move this lining out of the way. Make sure that this is folded towards the right side of the fabric and do a top stitch. I like to make the stitch length a little bit longer for my top stitch because it looks nice. And you can see how that makes everything really tidy. Next, I'm gonna put this second piece of outer fabric upside down on top of that. So what we're gonna do is line up these edges and these edges and sew it down. Move the zipper out of the way again. Okay. Next, we're going to take that next piece of lining. This is the right side. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a tone on tone. I'm going to put that upside down on top of the zipper again. Again, I'm going to go for a little more than 1/4 of an inch, just to be sure that I catch all of it. The petal can get away from you and it does something like this. And that feels a little crazy, but I have to be really careful not to push too hard. Anyway, so on the bottom, it looks like this. And on the top, it looks like this. Once again, I'm going to move that lining fabric out of the way, put it over here, and top stitch down. Oops, a little bit longer. Back stitch, top stitch, all the way down, just about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Zipper out of the way. Okay. Next, I'm going to fold it like this so that the lining pieces are together and the front sides are together. And then I'm going to look at these and make sure they're matched up really nicely and clip them, because in the end we do want those to be level. So here's my little tag. I like to fold it in half and make sure my edges are even. And then I stick that right here in between these folds of fabric and put a clip to make sure that it's in the right place. And then I like to start at the bottom end of my lining piece towards the corner. Turn the corner. This is my tag under here. Next, we're coming up against this zipper tab. What we have is a full 1/2 inch of fabric outside of where the zipper tab is, where I'm not going to sew on top of the zipper tab. So I'm going to sew next to it, but not on top of it. I like to reinforce that by going back and forth. And now we're right here where these are going to line up very nicely. With this kind of batting, I have to press it down so it doesn't get caught in the zipper foot. But I want to sew a nice straight line. For me, I am fine with a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. The main thing is that I want to catch all of the fabric between this stitch. So turn the corner. Anyway, get to where the zipper tab is here again, and I'm sewing only on the outside of that underneath. And I'm on the lining now. Lift this up and release some of that fuzz. Turn the corner. Now I'm almost back to where I started. Okay, can you see? Oh goodness. This is where I started. I'm gonna stop about here so I can get my fingers in there and turn the thing inside out. Okay, so now I'm gonna trim the corners. Be careful not to catch the stitch in your scissors, because obviously if you cut the thread, it's not going to hold. Move you back a little bit so you can see better. Okay, I'm going to turn this inside out. It's really not hard to do if you leave a big enough hole. It's not that big of a deal. So my advice is to leave a nice big hole. This is the corner, so I'm going to poke it out with my finger. If you need to, you can use a stick of some sort. Get a nice corner on there. Okay, and on here we want to poke out those edges. And now you can see how that's not caught up in the side of the pouch. It's just nice and square at the top, which is like pretty awesome. Okay, now here's the hole in the bottom of the lining. I'm gonna roll the edges so that I'm sure to have it all the way up to the stitch line. I'm gonna flatten this out. Okay, Here's the hole. I'm going to sew that closed. Again, I like to use a little bit smaller stitch length when I'm doing this. And the reason for that is because it just makes a tidy little stitch there, real close to the edge. See, that's not even, you don't even notice it. Stick that inside. And then you can see what my tag looks like on the inside. It's real tidy. Here's the final product. It's a zipper pouch that is nice and square. It has a very tidy zipper on the top. It's flat. If you wanted to, you could box those corners. Just look up a video on boxing corners, it's easy. And it's quilted, so I think it'll sell because quilted stuff sells really well right now. And I love these number 5 zippers. They're just cute. So, have a good day.